Now I also want to tell about Python packages. I have been delaying it for a while because I thought you should take one idea at a time. Okay, but now is a good time to discuss about these packages. So in a programming language, if it is a rich programming language, it has many features, and when you start working on it, you don't include all the features. Why shouldn't you include all the features? Because it will occupy your RAM, no, all the function, everything will occupy your memory. It will make it slow. So if I put every Python packages, in fact it will fill up your laptop. So it's a good idea to use ones which you need. So the packages we need for this course are NumPy, which you already know, NumPy, numerical Python. Okay, so this is for arrays and numerical functions like sine, square root, all that factorial. Factorial it doesn't do. I just checked, NumPy doesn't do factorial. NumPy will work with arrays. The strength is arrays, and I discussed that in the class. So if you want to use arrays and NumPy and operations on arrays, if you want to just use math on single variables like factorial 5, then you have to use math. So there are a lot of common functions. I mean, sine of a array is same as sine of, I can make an array of one number. So sine is accepted, sine of 5 will be accepted, but not factorial of 5. CMath is for complex numbers. Math has quite a bit of it. NumPy also, sometimes you may just not need CMath, but if you see your complex numbers are not working, then you import CMath. I will tell you how to import it. There is something called matplotlib. So this is for plotting, which we will do in the next class. So Python can do beautiful plots, and you can plot 3D contour plots, a lot of it. Okay, so this is really nice. So I will tell you this one, and SciPy. So this is all scientific Python, and eigenvalues is part of scientific Python. It is part of linear algebra package of scientific Python. Differential equation solvers are part of SciPy. So a lot of scientific Python, there are packages, and we will use some of them. Matrix stuff, ODE solvers, we will do that. Again, I must say that I will not handhold you. Okay, you have to learn few things yourself. But just to kind of get you on, because yesterday's lab, people are not even knowing how to save in a file. All that is, you must learn it. Unix stuff, you should learn it. In fact, I strongly suggest that install Unix in your machine. No excuse that it works in Windows, it doesn't work here. It's not my problem. No? I mean, there's something which you have to handle it. So, okay, so everybody knows what is PWD, present working directory. So it tells you the present, what is your current directory, but I have to go to directory where I have my code. So I can just start Python from any terminal. But if your program is written in a file, then you have to go to that particular directory. Then only you can run it. Otherwise, you don't know where to search. But let's start doing Python here. Let's go to that directory actually, because I need it for something else. Is there? So one trick is, if you put a tab, if you're not bash profile, if it's not screwed up, then it will just complete the string. 473. So I can always see what is there. It's not easy to see from here. So ls will tell you where it is, what are the files inside, and okay, so this is where I want to be, because my codes are here. I just start IPython. Please recall that I had put minus pylab before. Okay, so pylab imports NumPy as well as math stuff. So it is useful. It is also part of well, it doesn't import everything, but very useful thing it imports, including eigenvalues, right? Ig worked. But if you just don't do it, then this will come. Now you can't see this blue color, but let's just start. So it's usual stuff, x equal to 5. but I want to say sine of x. Do you think it will give the answer? Sine not defined, because it does not know what is sine. So I have to import numpy, or you could also import math. Math will work. So you can import both. So let's import math and see whether it will work. So if I say import math, it will import everything of math. Now what should I say? I imported math. Sin x, will it work? So it won't work. So it's part of math package. So I have to say math dot sine is part of it. So you have to give the Kanpur, IIT Kanpur, then home. So you have to go in that sequence. So you have to say math dot sine of x. This works. Okay. So we import a package. Then you have to, from the package you have to say this. So there is another way to do it. So I don't want to write this math dot. So there is a way to do it. So this you should remember. I mean these are simple English, but you should think logic. So let's do, I want to import cos. But right now math everything is imported. But I can just, I could, if I had done this, from math import sine. So it will import sine function. In fact it imports it, it compiles it, it has an object file sitting there. Okay. If you know this object stuff, so it is sitting there. If I do this, now I can use sine of x. So if I say sine of x, it will work. So sometimes I may use this one, or you may use this one, or sometimes you may use this one. Okay. So if you import, but you don't want to import everything, then you should say from import, from math import whatever you need. Not necessarily import everything, because that will occupy your memory. Here sometimes it's not a good idea to possess lot of things. You just possess what you want, Buddha style. But what if I say array, will it work? No, A equal to array, I put work or no work? Array doesn't know. So what should I do? I import numpy. But it's a good idea to import numpy. So numpy is a long word. Sometimes the name of the functions are very, the packages are very long. So I want to make a short acronym. So it's usual to import as. So you don't have to say numpy dot. So we use np, shorthand. So np. Now if I say, so I could have said, now so numpy name is np now. It has been renamed to np. So I should just put np dot, and it will work. So instead of numpy, it's, it takes time to write. So np will work. So if you say a now I want to, let's say, I want to take eigenvalues of another matrix, another array B. So let's so this is array B. Now if I say like what I did last time, works, because eigen it doesn't know, numpy does not have eigen as a function, IPython does not have it. So I have to import that I function wherever it is. So it's part of SciPy. So SciPy linear algebra. So SciPy has many libraries, a linear algebra of that. So I say from SciPy dot linear algebra. So it's again within, you are going down, import I. So you can import in many ways. So from this package I import I. Now if I say I B, this is how you import in different ways. If you want to import only few things, you import from this import. You want to import everything, you can also import the package name. So it comes in many flavors. So I listed some flavors here. So if things are clear, import is the way to do it, but there are many ways to import it, and you just think about it, and I will list it here, and this you will find in this sorts, like import math, or from math import factorial. So you will import only this, import numpy, or import numpy as something, this shorthand, from SciPy import linear algebra. So I could import all of linear algebra, dot product. I don't remember right now, but you can do a lot of stuff with that. Linear algebra also has inversion of a matrix, lot of stuff. So SciPy linear, so I could also said I only want Eig. So SciPy dot, so I could do this. Now we'll need plotting. So this is what you should put always, from plot matplotlib import pyplot. So matplotlib is a very big library. So from that I need only some of it, which is looks like MATLAB. Okay. So for us it suffices to use pyplot, and I am going to use, instead of writing the 6-letter word, I will use PLT. So this will be my standard PLT dot. It turns out you can plot right now in Pylab. So Pylab is very useful for doing most of the operations on the screen. Okay. So that's why I didn't import anything, it was all imported. I could happily work so far. But if you want to use in a file, so when you import in a file, there was a problem yesterday. So array was defined inside a file. So you have to say array inside a file. So when you say run, it is running that file. So within a file you have to import everything whatever is required within that file. Okay. So that's why you need this stuff. Inside a file you need, even though you are doing Pylab, IPython minus Pylab, within a file you need to import whatever is required. So just to give an example, so at the top normally it's good idea to, I need a NumPy. In fact this was not required here, I believe. So matplotlib, so these are you put in top. Okay. And so things will work after that. So I use np dot. So you know the engineering, or rather you know the tools, you have the tools, but now how to write good codes, or how to write workable codes first. Good will come after a while. So there are tips. In fact there are books written on it, okay, a huge number of books. In internet you say how to write good programs, you will get reasonably good sites, and I think you should read. So I will give you some tips which were, I will tell you in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but you should pay attention to it. It's critical. It's not like I can scribble something, computer will take it. Computer is a dumb machine, but very powerful machine. So it can also eat you up. Okay. So but you have to write properly to make it work. If you don't write properly, it won't work. You can't be frustrated it is there syntax error. You have to fix the syntax error. It should work in such a way that there is no syntax error. Okay. So the tips, one important point, I didn't see anybody, well, few people were writing on a piece of paper, but please take a notebook in the lab session. Don't go empty handed, and you must scribble to get the idea. In fact I shouldn't want to write a code without thinking like this on the piece of paper. Okay. You must always think before you start coding. For a big code which I wrote, I thought for 1 year. Okay. So this is what we think a lot, how to design a code. The good big programs, 6 months no coding, you just think of design first. Okay. So don't need to, you will make mistakes if you just start coding. So like you don't start building a big complex, okay, order of brick, order sand, you don't do it, you first design the building. Okay. So this is critical. You should, even for simple things like searching in the last class, you should think before you start coding. It should become a habit, a clean design. You don't want to say, well, now I need it, so I'll add a room. It will look ugly in a building. Similarly in a code, you shouldn't simply just create a variable, indentation is not there. Python is very good that way. It will enforce indentation. I have seen students writing everything from column 0, Fortran codes. Never do it. Indentation is good for you, forget about others. You can't understand the code if you just start from everything from column 0. The code should be understandable. Okay. So clean design is critical. Think simple. don't think complicated. You can't write good code with complex thinking. In fact, that also good for physics also. I do believe that we think too complicated and write too many junk papers. Think simple. So there is a phrase in computer science, it's called KISS. It means keep it simple, stupid. So keep it simple. Some clever programmers want to put in some clever things in the code. It is not advised, because you yourself will come and look at it, what did I do? So even though it may take one more line, keep it simple. Comments. You should comment your code, what is input, what is output. Few lines you should comment. I don't know last time what variables were using, so it should be good choice of it. For example, I'll do one illustration. I will try to write a code for searching. So my variable must be chosen with some thought, like factorial. I should not say x equal to something. So factorial, I put fact. I didn't want to use the word factorial for my variable y. It will conflict with the name of the function, and that's even though Python may work, I don't know, I didn't test it, but it's not a good choice. So this is important. At least 2 students asked me gotos. Goto is banned. Why is goto banned? Goto is banned because suppose I say after the class you go to Kanpur University, okay, that's what you do, your next class is. That is means goto. Goto will take you somewhere very far away without logic. And from Kanpur University you will go to Meerut for the 3rd class. So this is not a good design, right? Goto is, you should go in the neighborhood. Next line is what you should go to, unless it is told. So if you need to go somewhere, use function. So function will do the job. So you say, on the whole, I take a vacation to that place and I'll finish it off and come back. So gotos are not there in, I mean, Python, I don't think it is there. There is no line numbering, so it is not possible. Well, I believe so. I mean, there may be a trick to do it, but you don't need it. You should not needing it. It's banned. In any language, even if it is given to you, you should not use it. So the way to code is called structured programming. So your code should look like a structure, like a building complex. Okay, it should look clean. It should look nice, beautiful, and that's how it should be. There are ways to, there are more sophisticated ways to do it, but you don't need for this course. This is called object-oriented programming, that makes it clean, and you can write large codes. I mean, if you want to write 1 lakh line code, you need more thoughts and more tools. So object-oriented programming achieves that, but we don't need for this course. So any questions on this? Okay, so what I want to do it quickly, just illustrate how to write a code. Okay, we have all the tools now to write simple codes. So we will do search algorithm. Now this doesn't look like a physics part. True, it is not really the physics problem, but it's a very important computer science problem, because you use it for all the time. Searching inside the, like Google is searching, you know, most sophisticated searching, but in a directory I am searching. So search is very useful algorithm. So let's try to write program which is search in an array. So I limit my objective. I say I am going to look for program, or I am going to write a program which is search a variable x. So I should say what variable I want to search x. I am going to rename that variable. X is a good choice of variable, which is there inside an array A or not. Okay, I write a function. Function is reusable, so that's my objective. So if it's part of the array A, then it should give me the index where it is. If it is not part of the array, then I said give -1. Unfortunately, Python -1 means an index, the last index, but let's just work with that. Okay, so with that understanding that -1 means not in the array. So how should I do it? First, don't start coding. Think of what you should do. So it's a good idea to make pictures. So this is my array A, like this. So what should I do? Is unsorted array. Some array is given to you. I don't know sorted or unsorted. So It is simple. I start looking from first place. If it is x, I return the index. If not, then go to second, third, fourth, keep going. As soon as you find it, then you should get out and report. But if you don't find it, so you have to go all the way and I didn't find it, then return -1. So I should just scribble my logic in a loop. So here I would say, well, I start with my initial location, which is I equal to 0. Then I say, well, so if ai is not equal to x, then I should go to the next one. So I can just simply write if, keep going. Else return I. You can just scribble and then only you will start getting the idea. Okay. And so if I greater than equal to n, so this is n minus 1, n is the size. So I can say n equal to, I am going to use n is length of A. So if I is greater than equal to n, return -1. Okay. So this is the logic. Now after this I start thinking, okay, now let me write the code. So this if keep going, I should put this as a loop. So I'll say I'll just put these two in the loop. So I can say, so let's put it here. So while, now this is getting converted into a Python code, while ai not equal to x. So I should just increment I. In C you write like that, I equal to I plus 1, and keep looping. As soon as ai equal to x, it will come out anyway. Okay, so this is the important part. So this has been, so this will give me the answer. I have to make sure that this is also true. So let's write the code. Once the logic is there, it's quite easy. So let's start writing the code. So search x in unsorted array. Return index I, ai equal to x. If x does not belong to A, so this is nice. When you come back to this code, you know what this code does. So it is written at the top. Now I will start writing the code. So def name of the function. Now I will give this two arguments, right? So two arguments are array A and x, colon. Now I start with I equal to 0. So it's good idea to keep some blanks. Reading is easier. So while loop, while ai not equal to x, colon, I increment I. So I is reserved for loop variable. Okay, so good choice. Now as soon as x will come, it comes out, I can just say return I. So in fact return I. If x belongs to A, this code should work. So let's run it and check. This 4-line code, a 5-line code, it works, should work. There is a problem. If you know that if x does not belong to A, then there will be a problem. Okay, but let's just make sure it works. So it's a good idea. Python just it gives you a flexibility. Does it work if it is part of A? Then I will more worry about it. It's simple line I have to include, but I will do it right now. But let me first test. So I should make sure I am in the correct directory. I am in the correct directory. So run search. So when I say run, it is going to import, basically compile this function and keep it ready for my use. So I can run search. So it runs without compilation error. Suppose I miss something, so So let us say I missed this colon, no need to get hassled, you have to just work. So invalid syntax, probably you are not able to see, it also gives you line number. Actually I used it so that the white is easily viewed from the screen. So it tells you where is the error. So the error is here, in fact it is telling you that invalid syntax. You can see, well, it is probably not visible, while is in front of while. So you know where to look for the error and go there, and so it runs. Okay. Now I need to check it works or not. So I define an array, let us do a list. So list is as good here, 1, 3, 6, unsorted, so I can put 5 here, 4 of them. Okay. And so I need to search. So let us say I am searching in array A 1. So I should get answer what? 0. So answer is coming 5. So it is working, right? 3 is coming. What if it is not in the list? So it says index out of range. So it went there and it tried to do the comparison. So I increased beyond, so it kept searching and it read, so it did not find it here, it came here. So I mean I can't search in that now anymore, this is beyond the size. So this error it is given. So I need to fix it. So what I could say is, so I can just make a simple change. So I will say, well, if I equal to n, is this condition, I just insert in my code. So if I greater than equal to n, break, so come outside the loop. Now return I will not be the correct answer, no, actually it will give you if I run it presently, so it will not give -1. So actually let us break, so do not do too many things in the loop, that is my suggestion. So I have the index I can, based on the index I which comes out, I can take a decision. So but other code is also equally good, I mean I have no problem, but I would like to write less, if I greater than equal to n, then I know it is not part of the array, or let us say less than, so less than n, then I know it is part of array, right. But this code, this loop can also return something outside else, return -1. So let us again, you have to again load it because the code has changed. So run again. Now search n not defined. Okay, so n is not defined. So I can do n here, n equal to. Okay. So this will work. So this is how you write the code. So it should be clean, no tricks, it's just simple loop, but each variable means something and you do it. Now this is for unsorted array. How many operations does it require? Not always. So you have to give for this problem what is the best scenario, worst scenario and average scenario. The worst scenario is n, you have to just search everywhere. Worst case, the best case is 1, first time you got it, and average is n by 2. But suppose in a dictionary I want to search, dictionary is another search, okay, dictionary is really you search. How many words are there in a dictionary, like 1000-page dictionary? There will be 1000 times at least 100, no? So 100,000 words. If you do linear search, you want to do linear search or do something else? Why dictionary is sorted A, B, C, D, why isn't it jumbled up? So it's jumbled up, not jumbled up because you can search by some clever scheme, and we do it. In fact, I asked the puzzle and everybody answered yes, yes. Like if you think a number between 1 and 100, then how many queries do you need to find out what the number I have thought about? Do you need 100 queries? You need less. How many? 6, actually 8. So it is called binary search. So the idea is, in fact this code can be easily written. So the idea is that, so it is sorted array. So sorting is a very important algorithm in computer science and also in daily lives. You sort it for searching is faster. And how do I do fast search? So if my array is there, is increasing order. So this is my lower variable and this is my upper variable, and we define a mid, which is the average of the two. So see whether number is less than mid or first equal to mid. Equal to mid, you got the answer. The first you should check whether x is equal to a mid. Then you return if you get it. If you don't get it, then see whether it is less than a mid. If it is less than a mid, then where is the number? Is from here to here. But if it is greater than a mid, then it is here. Now I do the same thing for this part. If it is here, then again I go from is sorted array again this part. So again I ask, go to the mid, is it equal to this? If not, here or here. Keep going down, you converge quickly. In fact, you need log n steps. If you think about it, it's a tree you're creating, each time you're dividing by 2. Okay, so to reach 100, I divide 50, then 25, then 12. So that's how you keep going searching, and you reach in 6 steps. So that's called log. No, log. This is log. So log n is quicker. In fact, log n is real gain, and that's why binary search is what is used for searching a sorted array. And how do I write the code? Now I won't be able to write in 2 minutes. So this was a standard one, sorted array. So it looks, the idea is here, but the first check whether this array is, this number is within the bound. It's sorted, so it's easy. You should see whether it's less than a. So this condition is important. You should write all possible scenarios, otherwise your code will break. So this is the condition if it is beyond the size. In the code I have a documentation, some comments, but here I didn't write the comment. Now if it is, so while it is not equal to a mid not equal to x, I shrink from the, so this is again a condition. If lower is equal to upper and a mid is not equal to x, then what do you know? It doesn't belong to array, right? You come down to the bottom of the tree and lower equal to, it will be lower equal to upper at the bottom, and if a, this is not true, then you break. If it is less than a mid, then you go to the left, greater than a mid, then you go to right. So these are variables which will tell you what it means, and you keep doing the loop. Now when you get out, it could be this scenario, or it could be because it was equal. Equal, then I say give me the index of the mid. If it is not equal, then I return -1. Anyway, so this is the algorithm, and please think about it. Okay, it's not straightforward, it's not difficult either, but I suggest that you write your own code. Everybody, okay, all of you should write their own code and see whether you can do it. All right, so I do want to go a bit slow. It does look easy programming, but it's not so easy, especially if you are not used to writing programs. Okay, I just want to make few remarks. That computer is a non-intelligent entity. Okay, you may, I mean, there's another debate that computer is intelligent or not intelligent. If you see some science fiction, they will have their own views, but it's a programmer whose intelligence goes in the computer. Okay, so you have to tell this computer in a very logical manner, extremely logical. If you make a mistake, it won't. Okay, so and it has a way to understand. So you have to exactly tell a machine. How do you tell a machine? You just have to make the very clear-cut instructions. But it is also true. This creator of C++, Stroustrup, so this book is very famous book. C++ is it brought in a big revolution in coding. So he makes a remark which I do like it. He says, if you can get it right on a computer, then you understood it completely. So you may think that you understand some concept, but if you can program and get the result what is expected or what you think you predict, then you got it right. I mean then you understood it completely. In physics, it's always recommended that you do the derivation yourself. Okay, don't look at the book and I understood it. But after that, you should also program it. If you can program it, then you understand each step. So for us, when we simulate fluid flows, we have certain ideas, it works this way, but when you simulate it, then you get a better understanding. Okay, so programming is quite critical, especially as I said in modern times, first class, and so it has its own merits. You can understand it better if you program it and you get the result. And sometimes you are delving into unknown territory. So as I said, this is a numerical experiment. So the bottom line is you have to program in a very logical manner. That is what programming is about. So I think what I want to do is I just want to redo this, just go quickly. I hurried up in the last class. I think it is important to emphasize some of the ideas once more. So search algorithm we will just go through once more, so quickly now. So first is called this order n. O is order n. How long does it take, or how many operations? Actually how long I can't say, because faster computer will do it in a shorter time. So order means how many operations does it require. Here operation will be comparison. You compare two numbers. Okay. When I am searching in Google, it's more sophisticated, but you are comparing strings or comparing. So Google, of course they make money because they have very clever ideas. They don't do like this. They certainly don't do linear search. Okay. But comparison is important for this operation. For numerical computation, you multiply and add, and of course divide. So division takes longer than multiplication, and multiplication takes longer than addition, but all of them are clubbed as floating point. Okay. Now there are details, how long does it take, but each number is called each operation is called floating point operation. Multiply, add, division. Here comparison, so how many operations does it take? Order n. So we look at average. So as I said, this the fastest is 1, because you get the first number. Slowest is n minus 1, well n actually, in fact the last number. Average will be n by 2. So if I do thousands of them, then I will basically get number n by 2. So this is important. In fact we will come to this idea again and again. Numerical computation, an algorithm. So this is called algorithm. How do you search? I showed you an algorithm, and this algorithm is linear search. We go from beginning to the end, and it has complexity. This is also called complexity. Okay, I didn't write the word complexity. So this is called time complexity. So the two words, maybe you should know it. So this is called time complexity. So a number of operations, and second is called memory complexity. How much memory does it take? So for this problem, you take order n. Okay, so array size is a memory required. So if you look at the code, it is very easy. So I did this in the last class. So the while loop. So I do not use the for loop because I may finish before going to the end. For requires beginning to the end, so you do not need to go to the end. So while ai is not equal to x, so the index ai, well I am searching here, so whenever I see I equal to x I stop, but I keep going until I do not get that condition right, not equal to, okay. But there is a thing that if I is beyond the array size, then I should stop, okay. So this is the condition, and so this loop, this part within the loop, so the indentation is very critical, that all these two sentences, in fact, well this is not a one sentence, well this is one sentence, sorry, this is one sentence, this one, but it is a block, consists of two statements. So these three together are within the while loop. Now after I get out of so once I finish here, then I come out of the loop. This is obvious, but you must remember that you come out of the loop. Now there are two ways I can come out of the loop, either by this break condition or by satisfying opposite of this condition. So when I satisfy opposite of this condition, that means I is less than length n, right. So I is the value of your index, but if this condition is satisfied, that means the x is not inside the array A, and I should return -1. So this function returns a number, an integer, either the index of array A where x is present or -1. Now I could have written this while loop in slightly different way if I want to avoid break. So the way to do is, I want to put both the conditions in the while. So how should I put both the conditions in the while? So I have to say that of course ai is not equal to x and I is less than n. So if both the conditions are satisfied, you continue. If any of the condition is wrong, then you get out.
So will this program work if there are if x occurs more than once?
So it will look only one, the first time x encounters it will come out. So this program will give you only one index, not two index. Good question, it gives only one index. So if I want to avoid break, then I have to say ai not equal to x. So if this is true, and so I do get mixed up with whether should I put or should I put and. So that's why break is easy to kind of think of. So this can be confusing sometimes, and my mistakes are there in this, either and or. So I can tell you that much. I less than n. No, so I continue till these two conditions are satisfied. If any of them, so when will it get out? If any of them is not satisfied. So if this is not satisfied, it will get out, or this is not satisfied, this is get out. So this Boolean stuff you should also, x and y, x or y, not of this is what? So this is not x or not y, okay. So this I am saying is not. So this one is important when you program, in fact you need it. What about not of this? This will become and, okay. So you have to do this. So this is one place where people tend to make mistakes. Now as I said, this code is not efficient. I can do better if I do some more work on the array. In dictionary, somebody has compiled it in a sorted manner. It has been sorted. So if I have an array which is sorted, then how long does it take? Log n. Okay. Is this proof clear to everyone? Yes, or anyone has problem with understanding log n? You go faster. So divide in half, So, if I search for a number within 0 to 100, then I look at in the first half or second half. Then if it is in first half, then again I divide in 2, so you will reach in log n steps. So, complexity here is log n. So, time complexity will be log n. Log n is very quick, you can plot it, log n is quick.
Log base 2.
Yes, this is log base 2 indeed. There is one more. So, when I say order means the factor I am not worried about in front. So, the factor in front of, so it could be, if I say log base 10, then there will be factor in front. So, of course, the people who write codes are worried about the factor. So, factor 2 is better than factor 3 and it saves you a lot of time. So, if you go from 3 to 2, you have saved 33% of the time. Now, so let us do the recursive one first. This is nice actually, recursive one. So, what I had said that first this is the condition when it is beyond the array. Either, so it is sorted. So, if it is less than first element and above the last element, then it is not part of the array, right? It is sorted. So, you can just do this. Now, so if it is not true, then I am going to else if. So, if this is not satisfied, then I come here. Now, I would like to search. Now, please remember that here I am searching from lower to upper. This index is important. Now, this has been not searching the whole array, it is searching from lower to upper. Now, what I do is I see whether lower equal to upper, that means there is only one element, and then if a mid is not equal to x, so I am putting AND. Okay. So, that means x does not belong to array A from lower to upper, which is equal for this condition. So, again I return -1. Now, if none of this condition is true, these two conditions, then I come here else. Now, what is the possibility? Now, lower is not equal to upper, or lower equal to upper, but this condition is not satisfied. So, you have to logically argue. As I said, computer will understand, you have to put all your logic at hand. So, now this condition, if this is not of this, will give you this. So, a made equal to x. So, it will, by the way, it should return a number, it should return either index or -1. So, this will give you an index or -1. So, this will give, this is the answer. If a mid equal to x, then I got the answer. So, this will be there when lower equal to upper. Now, of course, you could put more else if it is possible that you can put this condition if this equal and equal to. So, you could make part of it. If you would like to make the code simpler, it is good, it is no problem. Now, if this is also not true, this is not true, then lower is not equal to upper and a mid is not equal to x. So, I had made this diagram. So, this is mid, so this is lower and this is upper. Now, so far by doing 3 conditions, I exhausted x is not here and lower is not equal to upper. That means it is either here or here. Okay. Now, you put this condition, if x is less than a mid, that means it is in the lower half. Then I should do the binary search in which range? Lower to mid -1. Okay. And this will give an answer. It should give an answer. I should not print, I want an answer. So, if you print, then this is well, this is not what I want. So, it will give an answer. So, this sentence continues and I put it line break. But if this is also not true, then x is lying outside, the right side of M. So, from here till here. So, I do binary search from mid +1 to upper, and this, so answer will be either this one of the 3, and I should return. So, this part, all of it, all these is part of else, and all of it belongs to the function. Okay. So, indentation is very critical. So, this for Python enforces indentation. In C will not stop. In C code you could just put everything in line 0 or column 0, but that is not a good practice. Okay, you should have an indentation in your code. When I mean this is how you have to write how to search X, but in while executing what will it do? So, you will look for let us say X exists inside. So, you will find middle and search, look for compare this number. If it is not equal, then either it will go to the left or right depending on that condition. Now, if it is in the left, then again is going to create another med M prime. Now, I will see whether this X is equal to M prime. If it is not, then it is going to go further down either here or here. If it is not, well, I mean now let us say it starts here, again it is going to go down. So, this is going to do recursively, and once it finishes, that is where the answer will be, and of course it will top up. So, from bottom is going to come up, so the same answer is transmitted. Okay. So, that is how this binary search works. It is a recursive procedure, function is using itself. Okay. I would recommend that you can print answer. So, you just take a array which is not very large and keep printing. So, one way to debug your code, debug is remove the errors. So, first compilation error, you will get some error, this syntax is not right. Syntax is grammar. Okay. If grammar is not right, you do not even understand, but if grammar is right, but then I do not understand what you are saying, your English is perfect, but I do not understand what you are saying, okay, or you are not doing what, you are not saying it correctly, that is semantics. So, in computer science there are another two special words, syntax. So, this comes out while interpreting. So, error comes, no, when function not defined, all that error comes. Other one is semantics. My English is not good. Semantics. SE. Semantics. Okay. CS, I think. So, this is meaning. So, what is the meaning of your? So, if your semantics is not right, this code will not give you the correct answer. So, that is why you need to test your code. So, one way to test your code is put lot of print. So, one idea is to just print here before return. So, you see output on what is happening at different loops. This code is going to be expensive. This code takes longer time because it goes down and comes up. So, other idea is to do in a non-recursive manner. So, no recursion, you do it non-recursively, that means I do with loops. So, this same code, in fact recursion is to get my idea right, in fact I did recursion first, then you can do non-recursion. So, this code is also not very long. So, basically this is the first condition. Now, this part I am using break for this second condition, lower, and this is basically either goes to the left search or right search, and it keeps looping. Okay, so, they are exactly doing what I did for recursion, but except it is not recursion, either choose left or right, keeps going down. And so, I would say that put some print in this code and see the range, how long. So, I am string is log n. So, you can show yourself or you can convince yourself that it is indeed log n. Alright. So, it is a good idea to print and check. Here again this condition is required. Now, so I assume that I have sorted array. So, if the array is not sorted, so one important point is to do sorting. So, in fact, when we do fill up the Excel sheet, is sorted in roll number wise. No, it is easier to search for in the large class. So, this big algorithm, a big industry for sorting data. Numbers are of course easy to understand, you sort in terms of increasing order or decreasing order, but you can also sort strings. So, A, B, C, D. Okay, so, there is a way to say which is lower and which is higher. Sorting this homework, so please do it. Sorting is easy for the simplest algorithm. Of course, there is large number of sorting algorithms. The easiest one, what will the easiest one will be? Easiest sorting algorithm. I have to keep the number in decreasing order, let us say, bubble sort. So, first get the largest number by searching. So, you search and pick the largest number, you can do binary search if you like, put first, then remove that number, largest number is here. Now, from number 2 onward to the last number, I search for the second largest, put it here. So, I keep doing it, and that is how I will sort it. Is not, in fact, is the worst algorithm. How many operations will it take? Sorry? So, first time it will take n, second time it will take n minus 1. So, no. So, you can just do it, if I just do it n plus n minus 1 plus 1. So, 1 to n you sum it up, n into n plus 1 by 2. So, is order n square. Okay. So, this is order n square algorithm. Sorting can be done in n log n, the good ones. So, in fact, you can bring in some of these ideas so, this is called divide and conquer. So, divide the data in 2 parts, do the first half, second half. So, we will not do that part. Sorting with more complex algorithm will save time, but that is not, this again is not part of the course really. Okay. Now, the last thing is help. So, Python has a very good online help. So, when it will be part of your IPython. So, I can go to the terminal and I do it, but I will just tell you from here, you will save time. So, you can put a question mark, people are using it. So, you put a question mark and the function name, you will get details about that. So, let us just do it quickly. So, question mark, suppose I want to know what does square root do. So, it tells you what does square root do. Okay, so, square root, so it gives the details about square root function. Now, you can just quit. So, Q is quit. You can, so plot, I am looking for some symbol, so you will get some description about it. Okay, so it is very useful. I do not need to go to the internet, this is part of Python, IPython. Now, there is one sophisticated thing that within a math library, so import math, no, but I want to know what all math library does. So, math I think is imported already. So, here math dot, please see, put a tab, everybody knows tab, just put a tab, then you will get all the libraries of math tab, math dot tab. Okay. So, I am just putting a tab. So, it just gives, so it is very useful if you are looking for, I mean suppose I forget the syntax of log or log 10, okay. So, you get it from here. Now, there is another thing called help, online help, this I believe will require internet. So, if I just say press help colon this thing, so I can now get help on the module. Here I will not in the online help, the help I just showed you right now before this, will not tell you help about array, what does the object do, what does the module do, but here if I just say array, it tells you all about is a module array. So, it is more on module and libraries. So, matplotlib if you want to know. So, it tells you that it is a package, matplotlib is the name of the package, what is the file, so description. So, it is very detailed online help. So, any question on this? So, basically I finished programming. So, it was quick, right? I mean, if I did C, it should be taking double the time. Be careful with function, it is very powerful, but it can be frustrating. I did get frustrated when errors come, not able to get the answer, but Python has evolved, is easy, but you have to be careful. Python returns any type. So, it is a def function name, so it does not tell you what type. So, it could return integer, it could return float, it could return an array itself, or it can return two objects. So, suppose I want two indices, for example, he was saying if I know that this x is occurring twice. So, I could get index I1, I2. So, when you say return, you have to put return I1 comma I2. So, you will return two of them, and where will that be? So, so the answer has to be, to invoke it, you have to say x1 comma y1 equal to search a comma x. So, first one will be stored in x1 and second one stored in y1. So, if you are expecting something, you better store it somewhere, otherwise the function is not going to give you the answer. So, you should store it. So, that is why Python is cryptic, in the sense it does it fast, but you must be careful what you are getting. When you say print in a function and you are not returning anything, then you do not need this. Okay, this part is not required, otherwise we need it. Okay, so this part is programming part.